What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Skywalking with Wetz podcast. Happy to be here. I'm here to kind of break down the Bleacher Report top 100 list. There's some things on there that people may agree or don't agree with. Yet at the same time, I'm going to focus on LeBron and MJ because people really be disrespecting MJ on Twitter. And in this new era, you hear these guys on the podcast, they be talking about MJ and just they be talking wild. Everyone loves LeBron, and I think deservingly so, should love LeBron James. But at the same time, I feel like, recency bias is a real thing. And we obviously live in a new generation. Michael Jordan's era was damn near 30 years ago, and the last time he played was 22 years ago. And so a lot of people out here now probably don't remember Michael Jordan and who he really was, and they grew up with LeBron James, and that's totally fine. I think we live in an era where it's like, oh, you love and hate the other guy. I don't think that's how it should be. But at the same time, I believe that we can appreciate these guys, both of them. They're both legends of the game. Obviously, both top two players of all time have paved their own path in different aspects of the game of basketball. But, at the end of the day, when it comes down to my opinion, we live in the United States. This is what makes America great. I'm not trying to get political, but that is what makes America great. We can all have an opinion, and we can stand by that without punishment. I might get these Twitter warriors, Twitter finger keyboard warriors coming at me, telling me I don't know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, I think I do. In my own opinion, respectfully, and I know ball for the most part. Some I know more than most, and maybe not as much as some. But at the end of the day, I grew up around the game, and I grew up around people who taught me about the game, showed me legends, showed me how the game's supposed to be played, showed me different things, and I got to watch basketball my whole life on a bunch of different levels. And that's not what I'm getting at here. But my opinion is formulated through all these different things. And whether you agree or not, on the Skywalking with Wetz podcast /YouTube page /Facebook page, it doesn't matter. And if you don't or do agree, let me know in the comments. Tweet at me. I'd love to engage in conversation about it because I know this debate is something that keeps people up at night. And it's honestly probably ruined friendships. Bleacher Report came out with the top 100 NBA players of all time. Couple things that stood out to me. Paul George is ranked higher than Klay Thompson. I think James Harden is ranked higher than Klay Thompson. Yeah, Klay Thompson's number 98. And, there's a lot of guys on here that are way before my era, and especially so way before a lot of your guys' era. But I think it's a pretty solid list. You see some guys on here who were old school, and they were dogs, man. But Jimmy Butler above Klay Thompson and Tony Parker is a crime, and I love Jimmy. Paul George should not be above Klay Thompson or Draymond. Or Tony Parker. Yeah, we're just kind of scrolling down here. Ginobili, he needs to be higher up on that list. A lot of disrespect. Kyrie at 69 is absolutely crazy. So they have Luka over Kyrie. They have Embiid over Kyrie. And I know MVPs and stuff like that matter, but Klay Thompson has 4 rings. Kyrie has 1. But as we kind of get down to the nitty-gritty of it all, man, at the end of the day, it came down to 1, Michael Jordan. 2, LeBron James. And so here's my take on it. I love them both. I obviously grew up watching LeBron James. I didn't grow up watching Michael Jordan. 28 years old. I was born in 96. I was born at the end of Michael Jordan's prime and the end of that Bulls dynasty. But here's what I have to say, okay? As a student of the game, right, being raised in a household where, my dad had back in the day, you didn't have YouTube TV, you didn't have, what's the other thing, Sling and things like that. You had these old school VHSs that you could record live TV on. And my dad had film of MJ, he had film of all those dogs in the 90s. That he, as a kid, my dad had me when he was 18, 19 years old. As a kid, he had that luxury of having a TV where you could record what was on TV and it would be on your VHS. You could record movies, all these other stuff. I also had the gift of, back in the day, we had Dish TV, we had Bresnan. There's a thing called NBA TV, which is still around, but NBA TV would always show throwback games. So I'd always watch Michael Jordan. You know, obviously we got YouTube now. Like, you can always go watch Michael Jordan highlights. But the legend of Michael Jordan is 6-0. That's the legend of Michael Jordan. 6-0. Scottie Pippen, 6-0. Bulls dynasty. Phil Jackson. You know what I mean? Michael Jordan not being the player or good enough, or the Bulls being good enough to get past the bad boy Pistons, the Celtics, things like that. Jordan scored, 63 points against the Celtics. Still lost the game, still lost the series, right? He had to come up against, you know, would we consider the bad boy Pistons a dynasty? I don't think so, but they are one of the greatest teams to ever grace the basketball court. But then you have the Celtics dynasty, and, you know, it took him a while to get over that hump. Right, and that's one thing people bash Michael Jordan about, especially this new generation of like, oh, he couldn't get past the Pistons until they got old. He couldn't get past. Hey, you can't bash him for beating teams who are a little older, right? But like, that was just the start of Michael Jordan in his 6-0 run. His 2 three-peats. No one, like, we haven't seen it since. We've seen 1 three-peat since, and it was Michael Jordan 2.0. With the most dominant ever. Shaquille O'Neal. Derek Fisher. Right? Pretty boy Rick Fox. You know what I mean? So that's one thing people hold against MJ. And like, I get it. But I also think like sometimes dudes, they take their licks and they get better over time. Right? Michael Jordan was always great. As soon as he got to the league, he was great. He had an athletic ability not a lot of other dudes had. He had a scoring ability not a lot of other dudes had. He had a creativity of how to finish, how to shoot, how to get to the rim, dunk, that you didn't see. You know, you had Dominique, you had Julius Erving, you had guys like that, but he's even paid his homage to those guys and how they helped pave his game and helped how he wanted to be a basketball player. And so I don't always think like you look at a guy like LeBron James who had, you know, his 4th year in the league, he made it to the finals. 4th, 5th year in the league, made it to the finals. Some career paths are different, but that doesn't mean one's greater than the other. Okay? And so when I kind of break this down, I just want to reiterate, I love LeBron James. I love watching LeBron James play basketball. But I just can't make him my GOAT. First reason, very cliche. We hear this discussion. If you watch First Take, you watch Fox Sports, listen to these NBA players podcasts, they always talk about 6-0 in the finals. Right? It's redundant. We hear about it all the time. But at the same time, I don't believe that's anything to put your nose up to. 6-0 in the finals is nothing to put your nose at, right? Kobe didn't go undefeated in the finals. LeBron James, sure as crap, has not been undefeated in the finals. Magic didn't. Bird didn't. Isaiah Thomas didn't. Just to get to the finals is one thing, but to go perfect in the finals and have 2 different three-peats, and he could have possibly went 8 in a row, that's the first thing of the discussion. When you get to that last series of the NBA season and you close it out every single time, no hiccups, no game 7s. That's something to consider. 6 finals MVPs. 6 finals MVPs. 6. Every single one, he's the finals MVP. Would Michael Jordan have had this success in the finals if he didn't have Scottie, he didn't have Dennis Rodman, didn't have Kerr, didn't have Paxson, didn't have all those players around him that made the team great? No, absolutely not. But neither would have LeBron, and we'll get to that point here in a second. But when we kind of stack their careers together, people are like, well, LeBron's the all-time leading scorer of the NBA. Well, how many seasons did it take LeBron to get to that point? It took him about 20 seasons to be the all-time leading scorer. So one thing I'd like to reel people in so they can consider is like, let's look at the lens of MJ played 15 seasons. Let's look at it through the lens of 15 seasons. Through 15 seasons, Michael Jordan averaged 30 points to LeBron's 27. Michael Jordan averaged 6 rebounds to LeBron's 7. Michael Jordan averaged 5 assists to LeBron's 7. Michael Jordan averaged 2 steals to LeBron's 1. They both averaged the same amount of blocks, about a block a game, 0.8. LeBron James shot at a more efficient clip, 49% Jordan, 50% LeBron. But LeBron's been on record, he cares about his efficiency. Michael Jordan didn't care about obviously he cared about how efficient he was, but if he had to go 8 for 20, he's going 8 for 20. He doesn't care. He's taking the last shot. He's doing what he has to do to win. His best gift was scoring. Okay? But this is where it gets really interesting here. All right? Through 15 seasons, Michael Jordan compared to LeBron. Michael Jordan in total, all points, had 32,292 points to LeBron's 31. LeBron has about 2,000 more rebounds, about 1,800 more rebounds, 2,600 more assists. But Michael Jordan has 2,500 steals to LeBron's 1,800 steals. And he has 5 more blocks than LeBron James to a 15-year span of their first 15 years in the NBA. And keep in mind, Michael Jordan retired twice. After his first three-peat, he retired, pursued baseball. KD, LeBron were kind of joking about that. That's a story for a different day. I think that's a little disrespectful, right? Then he retired again after like 2-3 seasons, came back, played for the Wizards, did his thing, right? 15 seasons. Michael Jordan still had more points, averaged more points, had more steals, had more blocks, averaged the same amount of blocks. LeBron James obviously and should have more rebounds. Assists, I think assisting is obviously where LeBron James, he's a better passer than Michael Jordan. But that's also comes to one of LeBron James's downsides, in a sense. There's been times in LeBron James's career where he's been bashed for being too passive at times. And I think that's something that could take into consideration in this GOAT conversation. When it comes down to it, we know Jordan was taking the last shot. We know Kobe was taking the last shot, right? You never know if LeBron is. He's going to pass it off, right? Not all the time. He's had his clutch moments, great clutch moments. But think of the flu game for Michael Jordan. Think of the shot in Utah to close out the series for Michael Jordan. That's what I'm trying to get at here, all right? You knew Michael Jordan was going to take the shot, and Michael Jordan delivered in the biggest moments. Yes, he had to pass to Paxton. Yes, he had to pass to Kerr, right? And that's fine. But he also showed up, and when he did pass it, paid off. Didn't always pay off for LeBron. But when we look at it, LeBron's played 7 more seasons. Of course he's going to have the all-time leading scorer record because he's that great, right? But that doesn't make him the GOAT. It doesn't make him the GOAT, right? MJ still has more MVPs, more finals wins, more finals MVPs. LeBron only has 3 more all-first-team NBAs. He has 10 more all-NBAs, which is fine. But MJ still has 9 all-first-team defensive accolades to LeBron's 5. He still has 3 more all-defensive team. He has 9 more scoring titles. LeBron has an assist title. MJ has 3 steals titles. They both won Rookie of the Year, yada, 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 yada. But when it comes down to it, man, I think one thing that comes up is, MJ couldn't get over the hump. He needed Pippen. Look at all the help LeBron James has had, right? That first stint in Cleveland, he didn't have the kind of help to help him get over the hump against the Spurs, the Spurs dynasty, right? The Spurs, Ginobili, Duncan, Tony Parker, those guys were already coming off a ring. Not coming off a ring directly, but they've already won a ring. Tim Duncan won like two before that, I believe. Yeah, he won one with David Robinson, and then he won another one against the Pistons in the finals, I think 05, 04, or 05, one of those years. But he's had help. He went to South Beach. He had to jump ship to go get a title. And they lost to the Mavs. And he had Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade. I said it in another podcast. You look on paper, the Heat should have won that finals. But Dirk was just hot. Dirk and the Mavs were hot. They beat them. But then they go and win 2. They beat a young Thunder team. And then Ray Allen hits the shot. He's so, I don't want to say lucky. Ray Allen hits that shot to force the Game 7 to beat the Spurs for that 2-peat. Then the Spurs come back the next year, boots to the Heat. Then LeBron goes back home to Cleveland, right? Loses to the Warriors. I believe Kyrie or Kevin Love was hurt in that series. Okay, all right. Then he comes back 3-1, wins that. Great all-time performance, right? Great all-time performance by LeBron, but who hit the shot? Kyrie. LeBron did have the block. But then the Warriors go get KD, and then they beat the Cavs. But the Cavs, you can't say LeBron didn't have help. He still had Kyrie and Kevin Love, J.R. Smith, Iman, right? He still had guys around him. And then you saw LeBron start pulling stars in. They brought in Derrick Rose, Isaiah Thomas, all these guys, right? Didn't work out. It was never LeBron's fault. Then he goes to L.A., doesn't win immediately. They go get Anthony Davis. They win in the bubble. Bubble, different atmosphere, different kind of finals win. I'm not going to count it against them, but at the same time, different atmosphere. They come back the next year. They don't get it done. Then you start hearing, oh, LeBron doesn't have help. LeBron doesn't have help. How? He has Anthony Davis, dude. They just won a finals. He didn't have help. He had plenty of help when they won in the bubble, but all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they don't have help. So that's just one thing to consider here, in my opinion, is like, we got to think about those things. And that's why I always got to pick MJ over LeBron when I think greatest of all time. I'm not saying LeBron's not a great basketball player. Rightfully so, the second best player of all time, according to Bleacher Report and according to my opinion, right? But people act like MJ was just playing plumbers all the time, man. Think about it. Got a hair right here. Think of all the guys who are on podcasts now. Every NBA player has a podcast or something or a platform they go and talk on. Listen to how they talk about Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan busted their ass. Those guys still played against LeBron. So with that logic, LeBron's playing plumbers too. He's playing plumbers too. Those guys went and beat LeBron as well. See what I'm saying here? So that's my opinion on it. Let me know what you guys think, man. Let me know what you guys think. They both have iconic moments. They do. But at the end of the day, Michael Jordan's one of one. He's one of one. And LeBron James, he's one of one himself. But he's not 6-0 in the finals. Lost way more than he's won in the finals. It's never his fault. And another thing, last thing I'm going to close with here, Michael Jordan doesn't have to say, self-acclaim he's the greatest of all time. LeBron James does. He said it on record multiple times. I think that speaks for him. Let me know what you guys think. Thank you for tuning in to Skywalking the Wetz podcast. Peace.